Asalaam alaikum, sister. Thank you for writing to our live session. As I understand your situation, you were seeing a person and you agreed to get married. You were introduced by your mom and you state that, alhamdulillah, he's a good person. However, when you were talking, he told you that he was married, but that it was an agreement marriage, which I'm taking to understand that it was an arranged marriage, perhaps. And he stated that he doesn't live with her. And you were okay with it, and you agreed to marry him because he says he doesn't love her, and that he only married her so that he doesn't fall into zina. But sister, marriage is very serious, right? There's a lot of arranged marriages, for whatever reason, right? Whether to prevent someone from committing zina, or because somebody wants to get married, or because they have things in common, or whatever. Marriage is sacred in Islam, right? So even if he, doesn't live with her because he's working in another country, or whatever the reason is, he's still married to her. That's still his wife. And she is entitled to everything that a wife is entitled to, just like you are. When you state that, you're feeling jealous, and he keeps reminding you that his wife loves him, and that is very hard on you. But sister, you knew this when you got married to him, and I'm sorry if you misunderstood, or if you weren't really familiar with how a Muslim man is supposed to treat his wives if he has more than one. Perhaps maybe, inshallah, sister, you could read about it, get more educated on it. But a man is supposed to treat all of his wives equally, right? And there's very stringent and strict criteria put on a man when he marries more than one wife. He's not to treat one, like a queen, and then treat the other one horribly. No, that's a humongous sin. He can't do that. Or he shouldn't do that, right? So marrying him, knowing that he was married, would mean that you would have to agree with the tenets set forth by, Allah. Because Allah values marriage, and Allah set down the rules for marriages, right? So I understand, sister, you feel jealous. I understand you probably feel taken advantage of, and you probably feel like he lied to you, which he kind of did, because in the beginning it sounds like he made it, appear to be, oh, well, it's just an arranged marriage. It doesn't mean anything. But yes, it does, right? It does. But the truth of it is that from what you've written, it sounds like he does love her. She, obviously loves him. And now he's reminding you of this, right? In the beginning, he made it seem like it was just an arranged marriage, as if it wasn't a real marriage. Which it was a real marriage. But now that you're married to him, he's telling you, how much his wife loves him. And he probably loves her very much too. So sister, being that you kind of knew but didn't know the criteria of how a man should treat all of his wives, I would really suggest, sister, that you do become educated about it. Because you wouldn't want your husband to mistreat his first wife, right? Just like you wouldn't want him to mistreat you or ignore you. And I understand this is hard. I truly do. And my heart goes out to you. And that's like, in Islam, we're supposed to gain knowledge and seek knowledge. And that will help us in a lot of different areas of our lives, right? And in your situation, this would have been one of them. You stated that you want to pretend that you're the only one who loves him, but he keeps reminding you that his first wife loves him too. And you stated that you love him, but you don't want to deal with his first wife, right? And you said you've tried to think that maybe he loves you equally, but differently, and you still can't help getting mad at him when he even mentions his first wife's name in your conversations. So, sister, if you want to remain in this marriage, please do get a little more education concerning his responsibilities, as well as your own, right? Because like some sisters just cannot handle being in a marriage that is polygamous, right? They know themselves, they know their limits, and they know that they can't handle their husband having a second wife, even though it is permitted by law, of course, and that is the Islamic ruling, so that's the law. It's good to know yourself emotionally, though, as well, to determine if you can handle being in a relationship like that, right? Because you don't have to, you're not forced to. That is his right, but you're not forced to be in it, right? So I kindly suggest that in addition to getting more education on it, that you also pray to Allah, that Allah touches your heart, and that Allah helps you either to accept the situation in a loving way, or that He, helps you to make a decision to leave your husband if you just cannot emotionally tolerate the thought. And then another note, and the last thing I want to say is that your husband is not free from error in this. He was rather deceptive when he asked you to marry him. He was deceptive because he made the marriage seem like it wasn't a real marriage, that it didn't matter to him, and that they weren't like husband and wife, right? Because it was an arranged marriage and because they didn't live together. So your husband was rather deceptive because he tried to lead you to believe that, and you did believe that because you didn't have knowledge of, what marriage means at that time. So he is not free from blame. And in fact, if he came clean and he was honest and he didn't lie and he came to you and, just said, I have a first wife and I do love her. It was an arranged marriage. We don't live together, but I still love her and I still intend to treat you and my first wife equally. That would have been different, right? Then you would have had a choice. You would have thought differently, perhaps. But he didn't leave you that option. So you may want to consult with our Ask the Scholar section, because I am not an Islamic scholar, and see where your rights are in regards to this marriage, being that it was entered into under kind of false pretenses. Okay? And I say that because he kind of perpetuated this story that, it kind of wasn't a real marriage because it was arranged and they didn't live together. And you had no real knowledge of it, so you believed him. To me, that's false, but maybe an Islamic scholar might say no, that was enough information. So please do consult with our Ask the Scholar section for a more definitive Islamic response for that. But in the meantime, sister, please do take care of yourself, do good things for yourself, do lots of self-care, love yourself, and try not to focus on the situation at hand right now, okay? Because there's really nothing you could do right at this moment except for find some inner peace within yourself and study and learn more, and then try to decide what you want to do moving forward. We wish you the best.